pose of those people who haven't joined us, so who may want to get a copy of what today's session is about, and even for you if you want to go back to this session. So again, welcome everyone. We are appreciative of the fact that you made our time to be in this session. So the topic today is a first-time home buyer blueprint. Everything you should know. Blueprint is like a plan upon which you build on. Without having a plan, without having a blueprint, you definitely will not be able to go through a dream or a proposal. So whenever you have that dream or whenever you have a thing to do to accomplish, there's a blue plan. So a blue plan for first-time home buyer is what we're going to make available to you and then tell you that, listen, it's not that hard. See yourself buying what now? Buying a, no, if I say cell phone, you'll be like, no, it's not as simple as that. If I say buy a car, something close. But for some people, this is a big investment, is a big journey, it's a lot. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Once you have this blueprint, it helps you to navigate the process and then don't be afraid. Okay, so for as a way of introduction, my name is Steven Zude. I am a real estate broker. I'm working with Glory, who's my daughter. Some of you know her. So, and we work with a Royal LePage Signature. Is a Canadian real estate, and we are award-winning team in that brokerage. So we're doing fairly well, and we thank people who support us, and we look forward to working with you in the future. So now the agenda, we're going to work like this. By way of introduction, I've done introduction in the way I've given you overview, but I'm going to touch a little bit on it. Understanding your finances, loan options, and mortgage basics. The home search process, home inspection and appraisals. We're going to take you through making an offer and negotiating, and then talk about closing process. When you purchase, what next? So you have to settle in and all that. So the last but on the list, excuse me, will be the question and answer session. So let's keep going. So introduction of kind of talked about why we are here is just to get you some basic knowledge that you knew that you should need when you're buying a home. Your dream home, because some of you it might be a dream home, but I think that your first home shouldn't be your dream home because as you're moving along the ladder, you're getting you're growing your family, you're getting married, your parents are coming over, you need to settle your kids. At some point, maybe thinking about going to downsize. So you see, one house will really not solve your problems and to fulfill that dream home status, which I say your dream home, your first home is never your dream home. So for the purpose of this webinar, we'll be looking at the process of home buying. What are the challenges? Some people see the process as being challenging. It's a fearful process. People are overwhelmed. Some people might discourage you to say, "Oh, why do you think you can even buy a home? Why don't you live it? Why don't you enjoy your life? Why don't you travel over the world?" Kind of those noise like, don't do this. But believe me, it is a good thing to know. It is a good thing to do. And along the line, no matter how you think about it, this for some people, this buying a house is a retirement plan for them. For me, that's what I think. For me, basically, is an investment for me to get retired. So it's a good thing. You should go through it regardless of the fears, regardless of what discouragement people who talk to you about. It's overwhelming, but we're going to see what we are going to help you with. Then there are lots of questions people ask, and that is why we're preparing you to say, be ready, ask us any questions. Besides this, when we finish this session, be able to communicate with us and ask us more and more questions. Follow us, and then get the knowledge you want. Expectations, we're going to look at all you need to know, and then you being able to prepare yourself. So my personal story, for me, I was an architect in Nigeria. I owned my own business. I was a licensed architect. I had construction company going for me. I supervised a lot of people on the construction side. So I really know what I want. But coming to Canada is a different kettle of fish. So, regardless of my industry experience, I still have to know that the process in Nigeria may not necessarily be the same here in Canada. So the real questions are really hard. But then, regardless of my own experience, what about my spouse? So I'm going to tell you briefly. So my own point of view and my spouse's point of view, this was our experience when we wanted to buy a brand new property. Okay, so we went to the builder, went to this, we sat down, they took us through the floor plans, we liked the location because you're going to see when I take you down to the wish list, you're going to see what make up your wish list. So we settled down, we were already settled with a location. We saw the floor plan that was amazing and we keyed into it. So we purchased um, because pre-construction comes with you're buying a floor plan. It's not built yet. So we had to, the way to deliver or complete in the next 1 year. Unfortunately, they did not complete. And the beauty of that, of the pre-construction too, was that we knew we haven't raised the down payment. So we were like, yes, this pre-construction will help us make gradual deposits. But unfortunately, we made the full gradual deposit, but the developer could not complete. So now we said, but we were ready to buy. So we have the funds because we're going to talk about funds and then financing. So we were ready. We knew the money was there, but the developer disappointed us. So we had to go and we went to the process of getting back our money. It took years, anyways. We got the money back, but the time we wanted to buy, it, the money, I can't remember exactly what happened, but we had to wait for a few months because it said, listen, we don't even know where to go because that location wasn't anymore available. So we took some time. But we said, instead of leaving the money in the bank and get maybe 2% interest rate on it, let's invest it. So we invested the money an enterprise, and the enterprise went south. So they declared bankrupt, and we lost our money. So that's my experience, and that's why I'm sharing to you. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. So the next approach was to, okay, now we don't want to do this anymore. Let's go buy a ready-made home, resale. We call it resale now. Resale property is when you're buying a property that someone is living in it. Remember, as against the pre-construction, we purchased a floor plan, okay? And then we had to wait for the developer to finish. So we decided to go buy what is existing. So we engaged a real estate agent. He drove us around many, many times. We actually wanted to zero in 416 area. 416 area is like called Toronto. That time I need to pride about 416. I said, listen, I don't want to go outskirts. So the lesson here is that you may be wishing to narrow yourself in a particular neighborhood, but because of price, budget, and other circumstances, you have to leave your options open. So now we're not we didn't buy in 416 areas. Now, price points. When you're Our experience when we were looking, we saw properties that we had a target. We said we're going to buy. We had a budget. We are going to talk about budget. So we said me and my wife, we said we're gonna buy anything more than $400,000. But behold, after several searches, we ran into this property. On opening the entrance door, myself and my wife were like, wow, this is it. Bear in mind, it was above our budget. So we had to buy $30,000 more than our budget. So we overstretched it. So that's our story. We used an agent. We drove around. The financing was there, so we didn't have issue. Most people usually have. So that's my personal experience. Let's move on. Now, understanding finance. This is key. Your financing is the key because yes, Betty, Steve, Lola, all of you have dreams. Okay, you'll be like, okay, I want to buy a house. First thing to do is to understand your finances. Do you have the funds? If you don't have the funds, what alternative do you have? So we're going to look at assessing your financial situation. What's your financial situation? It's only when you're buying a property cash that you don't have to worry about mortgage and financing situation. But we are all working. I believe all of you are in a workplace. So you don't have that cash. Buying cash means when you can buy a property, if that property is 500,000, you pay down 500,000. You don't need mortgage. So we're going to look at uh, we're going to adopt the approach that most buyers do not have that 100% cash. So, and that is why we're looking at financial situation. To be able to prepare for your finances, you need to build your credit score. Credit score is very, very critical. All of you who are in this webinar must have at least two credit cards, but don't go too much. I have about 4 credit cards. So 2 is minimum that you should have. Why? Because the lender will want to see how faithful are you in using the funds that you're getting from lenders out there. It's not just lenders. Maybe you go to Costco, you go to Walmart. If you're using Walmart card, have you been faithful paying the minimum payment? What should be key in your mind is the minimum payment. If you don't want to use up the maximum value, or rather, if you don't want to pay up, make sure you maintain the minimum payment, and that is what helps you to build your credit. Now, I talked about budget. You need to say, okay, my budget is XYZ, and my budget is $300,000, $500,000. But in doing that, you need to sit with your mortgage agent or your bank to say, listen, I'm ready to buy a home. What can I qualify for? Some of you, whenever you're ready, you can talk to Glory, or Glory can help you, or you can approach your bank and say, listen, I want to buy a house. Don't tell them that you're already buying, because if you say you're buying, they will now check your credit. When they are checking credit, when someone else checks your credit, it's going to impact on your credit. But when you check it yourself, it doesn't, it's a soft pull. So the bank, when they check it, it's going to be a hard pull, and that will affect your credit score. Not that a lot of people hold families, a family, their credit score. Oh, give me your credit. They say, no, I don't want you to pull it. There are some soft pull, there are some hard pull. Whenever you're buying a house, it's a hard pull. So that is why the bank will want to do a big pull on you. So you also need to look at down payment. How do you save for down payment? Remember, I've talked about if you cannot buy 100%, you need financing. So when you cannot buy 100% cash, you need to explore, where do you get money? What are the strategies out there for you to get some money? Now, one thing we've done personally, with my family, with other people, we put some money together through joint venture partnership, which means me and someone else can put funds together if I don't have that money. So first of all, do your savings. You guys are working. Make sure you save money to be able to purchase. Your first home first should make sure that you have the money. It could be through RRSP. Some of you must have RRSP from your workplace. Make sure you utilize it. Then another strategy is to use the bank of mom and dad. Mom and dad help their kids to be able to raise funds for their down payment. So this is key because now the cost of homes are very expensive. Apparently your income may not really be able to sustain you buying a home. So there you go. Your parents can chip in to help you out. You can do joint ventures, partnership with your friend. You can say, okay, hey, I'm looking at buying a home, but I can't. Do I have a friend who can partner with me? One person or two friends can come together to do that. Um, Depending on what you want to do, depending on your strategy, you can say, okay, we are three people, we are friends, we want to live together in one condo. What the Indians do is they rent a one condo, maybe three-bedroom house, and they live there and grow their money and raise down payment, and all of them will now begin to go by. So I challenge you guys, if you're paying too much rent, think about getting a friend to live with and then build your down payment. There's a lot of things to talk about strategy to respond to great funds, but we're going to be fast so that we don't code you too much today. And there are times to ask, there are more opportunity to talk to us, ask questions and stuff after this. Now, when you are thinking about buying a home, you should understand the true cost of buying the home anyways. Besides you seeing a property being sold for 700,000, there are other costs. Once you put your down payment, you get a mortgage, there's a closing cost. On the closing cost, you look at the lawyer's fee, you look at the land transfer taxes because the government will charge you, will say, hey, Mr. A, you're buying this property from Mr. B. So the Mr. B is transferring that title to you. So you need to pay. So that is how government makes money. Now you have to think about home insurance and you have to think about the ongoing maintenance. These are the things that you have to think about, but this should not break you. This should not be a stumbling block for you not to make a move. Why not? Because most people live in their home houses, so you shouldn't be discouraged by closing costs, taxes, insurance, and ongoing maintenance. These are things we'll be able to provide for you, and you know what to do. Now, what are the options? And what are the basics? What are the mortgage basics? So remember, understanding your finances is very important. So mortgage, if you don't have 100% to put down on a property, which means you don't want to owe anybody. Nigerians don't want to owe anybody. When you talk to them and say, hey, I want to buy cash. Most Nigerians whose children are here, when you talk to them about buying, they say, listen, I don't want to buy, I don't want to owe anyone. And that is also why most people come with the mindset that they don't, that is why most people don't have credit cards with that mindset, oh, I'm a Nigerian, I don't want to owe anybody, but that's a wrong mindset. If you don't have a credit card, nobody will give you any loan or any mortgage. So forget that. So what does mortgage mean anyway? Mortgage means a loan. A loan someone is providing to you. Your bank is providing to you to buy a property. Why? Because you don't have the cash. Is it a problem? It's not a problem. Everybody in Canada owns something. So do not be discouraged. Do not have challenge. Don't fight with yourself about mortgage. Everybody has a loan. When you have a credit card, there's a loan there. So even though it's not called mortgage, is a loan. Any loan, any money you owe someone is a loan, is a mortgage somehow. So understanding the types of mortgages. So when you don't have 100% to put down on a property, you have to consider two major types of mortgages, fixed and variable. Fixed means that when you get pre-qualified by your bank or your mortgage lender, he or she gives you an option. Do you want to fix money? Do you want to fix that? Let's say now you hear Canada raising interest rate, increasing, reducing interest rate. The Bank of Canada sets the rate, the lending rates, and then the banks now use those rates to now adjust it at their own profit and then pass it on to you. So, for instance, if your bank says that the rate is 3%, okay, today, now they will say, okay, there's a term. How long do you allow? They'll set a term they would like to have that loan. It could be 5 years, it could be 2 years, it could be 4 years, but most of the time it's usually 5 years. So when you take a loan when you take a loan at a five or at a 3% interest rate, you fix it. The fixing means that for the period or for the term of 5 years, that interest rate will remain 3%. It's not going to be changed. Now, if you choose the variable, it means that whenever the Bank of Canada changes the interest rate or the overnight lending rate, it's going to impact you. So you see most people who purchased homes before COVID, it got a time when they were due for renewal, and because the government increased interest rates exponentially, they were having problems. It was because they went on variable rates. So whenever you choose a variable rate, it means that whenever the Bank of Canada changes interest rate, your rate can fluctuate from that 3% when you're opting for a fix to either below or above. So you need to get understanding from your mortgage agent to help you choose on what mortgage type to adopt. Besides the fixed variable types of mortgages, there are other programs for first-time buyers, which Glory can help you guys explore and then get it from the mortgage agent. How much can you afford? Here is where the budget comes in. You remember when me and my wife went to purchase, we said, listen, our budget is 400,000. Do not make sure you don't go beyond that. But circumstances led us to going beyond that. So this is what you say. You have to understand your budget. Make sure you work with your budget. But how do you understand the budget? Your budget is a function of your mortgage agent pre-qualifying you to determine how much you can qualify. So that's very key. So don't just wake up any morning and say, oh, I want to buy a house. Make sure you discuss with your mortgage agent or your bank to set a budget. A budget is that price that you cannot go above. A mortgage agent can say, hey, you are pre-qualified for 700,000, which means you can buy anything less than 700. Anything above that might be a challenge. So for us to go beyond 400,000 was because we were pre-qualified for above $400,000. So besides the mortgage types, down payment, how do you raise up the down payment? Your down payment, the government allows everyone to be able to make a down payment of between 5% and above. So the minimum is 5%. So, but when you're doing between 5% and under 20% down payment, it means that you're going to get what we call a mortgage insurance. So that's a different topic. So your down payment is when you see a house of 500,000, make sure that you qualify for between 5 and 20%. If you can do above 20%, that's okay. But that is where the government wants you to be at. Now, the home search process. How are we doing with time? Okay, good. The home search process. Remember when I told you that we purchased pre-construction and the developer messed up, did not fulfill the obligation. We had to go home searching. So how does it work? So here's how it works. You want to buy a home, you need to choose the right neighborhood. You decide, okay, like for us, we said we're going to live in 416 area. So I want to live in Mississauga. I want to visit elsewhere. But before you choose any location, you must pay attention to your workplace. How would you commute? How far do you want to drive? What about if you're single now, chances are that you will grow your have your family. What about schools for the kids? What about place of worship? What about safety? What about amenities? What amenities are there? Transportation, good network of roads. Don't be like some clients who say, "Okay, hey, I want to live in downtown," but the downtown doesn't provide the safety or the requirement that you want. Or I want to live remotely, but then you find out you have to commute for 2 hours. That's not good. Okay. But I want to emphasize this because I sometimes when we drive clients around, they will fall in love with a particular location without considering their work location. This is key because in the past 1 month, we put an offer for one of our clients. After the offer was accepted, he said, "Listen, we are backing out." Why? Because I didn't really consider the proximity to work. So you should be able to know what is right for you, what rightness in terms of neighborhood means. So working with real estate agents. So I mentioned to you guys that yes, when we were looking, we engaged a real estate agent. A real estate agent is a professional, is your professional guide. He's providing free service. He owes you fiduciary duties and gives you all disclosures. Take him or her as a trusted ally. A lot of people from the experience when they work with agent, they're like, okay, I'm sending you these properties, you're not doing a good job, blah blah blah. Except you have a reason not to trust the agent, you should stick to having an agent. Remember, it's a free service. You're not paying any agent except when the property you're purchasing, the seller doesn't pay the agent. That's the only way you pay an agent. So it's a free service, make use of it. Now, your wish list. I talked about wish list before. You have to set goals, set wishes that are really realistic. So when you're taking up must-haves, you like a property. What are the more what or if you're going out to search for property, what are the must-haves? Must-haves means you need to have a kitchen, you need to have a living room, you need to have a washroom, you need to have what else? A garage, probably. Where if you don't own a car, then it's not you don't need it, but potentially you need it. So those are you have to make a checklist and make a list. This is my wish list. Because when you start going out to look for houses, to view houses, you must check out, oh, this meets my list, this meets my requirement, this doesn't. So there are what we call must-haves and nice to have. Nice to have, for example, is I have a client, we had a past client, the couple is a couple, they said they needed a swimming pool. This is a young couple, they just have a kid of about 3 years old, no, 2 years old. And you will not believe it. We drove them around for over 1.5 years, looking for an ideal home, swimming with a swimming pool, forgetting that you really don't need a swimming pool when you have a young child. Eventually, we got them a house, and after 2 months of moving, they were like, "Oh, we listened to you. This swimming pool that we own, we haven't even opened it. We wish we listened to you." So make sure you make realistic lists. Okay, and here is it. Your first home is not your dream home. Your dream home. Wait until you arrive. Period. This is period, meaning that yes, I told you before. By the time you based on what income you're making now, chances are you want to maintain your budget, your lifestyle now that you can qualify. have a one bedroom condo somewhere and move in a small home townhouse and move in. Until you arrive, you can grow. And one thing you should know is that when you buy a property, the value appreciates on a yearly basis. So if you think you have not purchased really what you want, understand that by you buying a home, the value is appreciating, you're building equity on the property that will help you qualify to move up to a better house, to what potentially might be another upscale dream home, because dream home keep changing. Now, home inspection and appraisal. What's home inspection and appraisal? When you want to buy, if you're buying a pre-construction, you don't need an inspection. All you need to do is walk into, or with your agent, walk into a pre-construction developer site and they show you the floor plans. So for that, the inspection is like you going to on the floor plans and understand what the floor plans are. Now, but where home inspection is key is when you're buying a resale home, maybe a home that is about 5 years or more. You need a home inspection professional. What that does is that it helps you avoid costs of repair that will come later. Now, there are latent, there's something we call latent. There are features in a house which a seller might conceal. You don't want you to see it. So you might put a cover, a seller might put a carpet on a floor that's already scratched 100% by dog, or it is a ceiling that something is painted over. It's only a home inspector that will be able to see there's a problem. So once the home inspector comes in, he will say, okay, oh, there's a problem here. If you buy this home, the cost of fixing this leakage or the scratches on caused by dog will be like 3,000, 1,000. Those costs, even though they may not make sense, will make sense eventually. So it's important that the home inspector comes in to look at the property that you're buying. Based on the checklist on the home inspector will provide, you can now take a decision on whether to permit to proceed or not. So home inspection is very, very important, so that it's going to save you cost of repair in the future. Now, understanding appraisal. Appraisal, I'm not gonna dwell too much on it. Appraisal is when most of the time when appraisals are important is when you're purchasing a pre-construction, especially these days when the cost of homes went so high and then suddenly we saw prices come down. So any lender will want to make sure that what they are offering you mortgage for is actually the value that property should have. So why the appraisal process? The appraisal process is very important. You're using why is it important? Because you're getting an expert estimate of the house. Expert means that there's appraisers, they have a license to appraise the property, and that is what the lenders are using to give you a mortgage. So that value is critical to lenders and will not, any lender will not finance any house without getting the appropriate value. So it's very important. And why is this important? When prices go high, but not what the lender thinks it should be. If there's any difference between what the appraiser value is and the cost you are paying for the house, you have to pay the difference. So it's not good. It's not a good idea, because let's say an example, an appraiser gives a value of property to be 600,000, but you already made an offer to buy 650. The bank will only give you a loan or mortgage for only 600 and not 650. So you have to pay out of your pocket. So that's why it's important. So these are the questions, these are the things you should be understanding when you go through this kind of experience, so webinars. Okay, making an offer. Making an offer. First of all, you have a dream to buy a home. Number two, you think about your finances. You think about using an agent. You think about you now zero in on the area, making your wish list, and then you see something you like. So if you see what you like, you have to put an offer. That's what it means. If I'm buying a car, I want to buy a car. If I go to the dealership, I will say, okay, listen, I want to buy this car. You have to put down an offer. So, but in real estate, that offer doesn't really mean the whole cost of the house. Making an offer could be because an offer is offer and acceptance. Offer means I give you something to the seller. The seller will say the seller has a property you're looking into. You're considering. So the buyer will say now, hey, Mr. Seller, I want to make you an offer. So you put an offer drafted by real estate agent, um, uh, with all the clauses, some to protect you, and now say, hey, Mr. Seller, here's my offer, and I'm giving you upon with the written document, I'm giving you XYZ of dollar. It could be 10%. No, no, no. The rule of thumb is that if your property is 500,000, the rule of thumb is to give like 5%, but it's not cast in stone. It could be 1%, but it's an offer. You're making an offer of a monetary value. It could be $1. Then the seller will not consider. So that is what it means by an offer. So making an offer, what is the process? So you've seen a property you like, you just let your agent do draft the clauses, check it very well, give it to you to review, and then read all the terms with you. Make sure you understand the final prints. Make sure you understand. This is important because we've seen in many cases, some buyers will have a change of mind and they say that the agent made them to sign the document. Listen to this. Before you sign any document, make sure that the real estate agent takes you through all the clauses. If he's going to represent you, for how long will he represent you? Because we've seen cases where the buyers will say, okay, instead of instead of representing me for 1 month, he made me sign that he's going to represent me for 3 months, and you blame the agent. There's a meeting session, one-on-one meeting. Your agent must reveal all the representation terms. There are terms and conditions that will run you through to make sure that you understand it. Usually this meeting, one-on-one meeting between you and your agent takes about 2 hours. So make sure that you have that one-on-one meeting. So making an offer and negotiating. We're going to talk about competing offers. It's very easy to see a property and just make an offer. But why talk about competitive offer? Why compete? The reason we compete now, and this is rampant in the market, the value of properties have gone so high in the last couple of years. So, and in the competitive market, you see a property price for a particular amount, but that amount is not really what is going to be sold for. And let me use an example. Maybe you see a property townhouse listed for $500,000. Your agent should be able to do his due diligence to check the property in the area to know how much. So when he does that, he will be telling you, listen, Mr. Buyer, this property, the sale price is not real, which means you don't have to think that you're going to buy this house for $500,000. The sale in the area might be 600,000. So this is why the agent is getting you prepared. So the reason for agents doing that is to see if they can get the highest price for the seller. Remember, the seller's agent is not working with you. It's not representing you. Some people see listings, they say, oh, I want to go directly to the seller. The seller does not have your interest. The seller's agent does not have your interest at heart. Why? He's not representing you. I've told you before that the agent you are engaging with is working for you, is leading you by the hand to make sure that he protects your interest. So here is the thing. When an agent is representing you, he's protecting you. And whenever there's a competitive offer, the seller wants to get the maximum amount. So the essence is to make more money for the seller. So they just need for making a competitive offer. So first of all, the agent has to understand the going rate of the properties in those areas to be able to guide you and then tell you, hey, this property was listed for $500, $500,000. No, it's not going to be that amount. So the negotiation part there is how can you now negotiate on repairs? Remember, we talked about a home inspection. So when you put an offer, and I've told you what I put an offer is you finding you saw a property and you express your interest. You now put a written offer to say, I want to buy. Now, having put that offer there, your agent should be able to guide you on how to put clauses that will protect you. For example, if you put an offer on a property and you don't have financing, once that offer is accepted, you are bound by it. You are not going to escape from it. You are bound by the contract. So it helps you and helps your agent. It helps you when your agent puts clauses that are going to help you. For instance, if you cannot get a mortgage, then after you put an offer and that offer has not been accepted, you can walk away. Now, on the other basis, on repairs, if you put a conditional offer statement saying, if I don't get a satisfactory home inspection report, I'm not buying a property. Fine. This helps you so that if your offer has been accepted and you engage a home inspector to go through the house, and he will give you the health condition of the house. If something is wrong, he say, hey, there's a markup, something is hidden there. Oh, the roof is too old. Oh, the foundation is not good enough. You can walk away and um, without being hooked up with the contract. Now, so we talked about making an offer. We talked about competitive offers. We talked about how your agent can put conditions to protect you. Then there are other contingencies to think about. For example, if your offer is accepted, what about maintenance? What about living in the property? What about settling in? We're going to talk about those. Uh, so, um, making one second. Yeah. So now we've talked about making the offers and then negotiating everything. So now the closing part. You put an offer, it's been accepted, we went through the conditions and yours are fine. In some cases, making the offer might involve going to a lawyer. When you are buying a property with a condominium element, maybe maintenance fee and all that, you need your lawyer to review it. So for such ones, your lawyer also comes in. So it's not just the home inspector, your real estate agent, your your lawyer also comes in. Now, when in closing, the lawyer will now um, look into the closing. Now, what happens during closing? We talked about lawyer. He will review the agreement of purchase and sale. He will search the title. When you see properties and you say, Mr. Steve owns this property, I may not be the owner. I may have stolen the title. So this is why it's important for your lawyer to do due diligence on the property to make sure that you are the rightful title holder. It comes with a cost anyway, so we're going to discuss all that. So the lawyer will also prepare a statement of adjustment. Statement of adjustment could be could involve other costs. Okay, I'll talk about that. So what status adjustment means is you've gotten a mortgage, the offer has been accepted. The lawyer will now look at other costs and prepare a statement of adjustment. For instance, let's say you're buying a pre-construction and you've made your down payment. There will be a time when the developer will give you additional costs. And that is what the lawyer will be using to prepare his statement of adjustment. Now, what about closing costs? Besides the down payment you've put down, besides the getting a lawyer to look at your stuff, there are other costs to be considered. Let me see if I have the example of the additional costs. Okay, no. The additional costs will be the lawyer's fee, land transfer tax. Like I said before, if you buy a property from Mr. B, government sees that as a transaction. So you need to pay government land transfer tax. Then beside the land transfer tax and the lawyer's fee, you will pay other fees, additional costs like landscaping, hooking up utilities for new buildings, a survey plan, what is it again? Developmental costs if you're buying pre-construction. So this is what the lawyer will be doing for you during the closing. And when he has done all this, he will reviews it with you and you sign off. Once you have signed off, you now move into your property. Now, post-purchase, you've done with your purchasing, you've done with this, you signed off everything, what next? So settling in, you have to be aware that there are home maintenance required. For the first 6 months, you should be looking at, you must be able to pay your mortgage. You have to pay that timely. You need to manage all utilities. Your lawyer will tell you, hey, you must set up utilities under your name before you close. So you have to make sure that you change your addresses. You have to get familiar with your home because this is your home. And I encourage all people buying new homes to make sure you're at least handy. Handy, being able to change a bulb, being able to go to your kitchen, see something is falling apart and fix it. A lot of people purchase home, but they don't know how to even change a bulb. That's not right. So besides buying a home, you should be thinking about settling in and then the maintenance involved. This is where I am. Thank you very much for listening. Let's go into questions. I think I didn't do very well with the timing, but I took time to explain a lot of things. So can we go into questions? And if we're not able to have all the questions treated today, we'll have 3 more sessions of this. So thank you. You can ask your questions now. Glory, take the questions and then I'll answer
Yeah,
them.
so I got some questions. People were messaging me as we were going. So the first
Okay.
one would be in terms of like credit score, like what would be the credit range for buying a property?
Okay. The minimum should be 700. So I encourage all of you, you can check your credit yourself. All you need to do is go, if you don't have the link, we can send a message to Glory and we can send you the link. Do it yourself. Don't let anyone check for you. But the minimum you should have should be 700. If you have up to nine something, that's great. So, but aim at having 700. Challenge yourself. Never you go below 700.
Okay. And then there's also, oh, there's a question in the chat. Can you please explain the land transfer tax?
Okay, land transfer. It's like government. Okay, government makes money through taxing every homeowner. If you're living in Toronto here, if you hear that the mayor they're planning to increase or if they haven't implemented it, there's a hike in land in taxes. So the land transfer tax, like like I said before, when you are Mr. A, you're buying a property from Mr. B, government will record this transaction, okay, and know that transaction has taken place. Then you're going to pay what we call land transfer tax or land title transfer. So the land transfer tax is a fee that government charges whenever a property is purchased. You might say you might ask, how is it calculated? It's calculated by, there's a formula. So if you live in different regions, is a straightforward calculation. I would think if you need a particular, but let me use 500,000. Let's say you want to buy a 500,000 home. If you're buying outside of Toronto, every province is standard, but in Toronto it's going to be double that. So for example, you're buying a home of 500,000. Is usually I'll use a rough number, 1.5%. 1.5% of 500,000 would be like 5,000 or something, or 7,500. So, so you understand it now. Is a fee, it's a tax that government charges you when you buy a property. Now the formula, I roughly use 1% or 1% or 1.5% of the value of the home. Then if you're buying in Toronto region, Toronto like downtown, Scarborough, Etobicoke, North York, you're going to pay that 5,000 times two, 10,000. Is that clear?
Yes, that was clear. Yeah, she said yes, so that was clear. And next question. So this is kind of generic, but someone wants to know like how to start the process. Like
Okay.
what's the first steps?
Yeah, the first step, like I said, was you getting to know your finance, understand your finance. That's the first step actually we talked about. It's a before ever. Everyone would definitely, if you're not motivated to buy a home, you're not doing well. Everybody eventually will buy homes. So the first process is making sure you have the money, which is the down payment. If you don't have the down payment, I've talked about how you can raise down payment. You're all working, and even if you don't know how to raise your down payment, simple economics, simple financing, ABC of everything. Make sure you save money. Save money. I challenge my children, listen, I want you to save money. Don't go on too much vacation. Why? Because I want you to own a home. If you don't save money, there is no way you buy a home. So the first thing to do is to make sure that you save. So the first step in buying a home, save money. If you cannot save money alone, get someone to partner with, get your friend to partner with. Then the next step is to go to the bank and ask them, listen, bank, I've been banking with you. I want to buy a house. And most of you will be disappointed. Like we were also disappointed with the bank we were using for 3 years, CIBC. When we applied for mortgage, they refused us mortgage. But it doesn't mean that another bank will not give you. We went to Scotia. So Scotia was like, oh, welcome. And they gave us financing. Next question.
Yeah, that's good. I can also add like some people focus a lot on saving that they sometimes don't
Yeah.
know how much to save. So I would also say maybe talk to a mortgage agent as well, which is also another good step to start. So that's one thing that I've been doing with people that have been reaching out with me. I've been saying, okay, like you want to start this process and you think you have enough, but you might, the best thing to do is to talk to a mortgage agent to see how much you actually do have and that how much you can be pre-qualified for to help you like know which exact direction to go into. So that's what I would say. But to add to that, next question would be, I can answer this one, but it says, what is the most common factor that hinders people from buying a home? I think it's the whole money thing, people not thinking that they have enough or that it's too expensive and not knowing like what their options are. And then you can add to that.
Then I'll add that is fear of the unknown. Let me also add as an experience. When we came here, wanted to buy a home, and people were like, "Why do you buy a home? Are you going to live here forever? Don't buy a home. You won't believe it. This is real. I'm not making it up." People discourage people from buying homes, and then fear. Fear is like, okay, what am I getting myself into? I don't even have the funds. What is the problem? There's what I didn't mention when we were being pre-approved, the government or the banks, the mortgage lender is also, your mortgage agent is also taking you through what the Canadian requirement is, the stress test. The stress test is a test that you will be able to pay your mortgages even when the interest rates goes higher. So, and again, in the last, like I mentioned about a couple buying a home, and then after the offer was accepted, they backed out. So these are all fears. What's unknown? They're afraid, or somebody's discouraging them. There's no discouragement. You have to go dive into it. Don't fear about it. There's nothing to be afraid of. You have a good job. You have a good job, and worst case scenario, let's say you lose your job anyway. If you lose your job, the banks will help you. Your lender will help you to make a payment plan until you get another job. And again, if that is your problem, you can also do if you're buying a home now and you think, okay, in the next 10 years I'll lose my job. Why would you be thinking about that? Peradventure, if you're thinking about that, the banks, your lender has a insurance on your mortgage, so which you can take advantage of. When you're buying a home and the lender will say, do you need mortgage insurance? Take it, and you won't be afraid of losing your house. Most people are scared about losing their homes. So that's key. That's where I can stop. Go next question. Gloria, I think you're mute. I can't hear you.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Someone asked, how much money do I need to start? I was trying to respond and I said, it all depends on the price of like the area, what you're looking for, type of property, etc. Then you can quickly add.
Okay. Now, you remember my own experience. Initially, we didn't have the whole money, right? But we had to go for pre-construction. And I said, pre-construction, they are going to give you a payment plan. And for pre-construction, it means you're not going to close now. So the payment plan, if the watch out for the duration of the construction. They will say, okay, we're going to occupancy is in 1 year. Payment plan is 6 months, or payment plan is 1 year. So look at the payment plan, because it's not necessarily possible for you to have all the funds. Do what we did. We had to use the payment plan of the developer, even though they defaulted. They were asking us to pay at, I think, 10,000 or 5,000 every month until we were able to pay that down payment. So look at your options. Like Glory said, it depends on the budget. But if you don't have the money now, ask yourself, don't kill yourself on trying to raise the saves to save, because how much will you even save? But it's important. But whenever you're ready, ask to know what is your budget? Do you have the basic down payment? For example, if you're looking at buying a home now that is priced for 500,000, I have said that your minimum down payment should be 5% or maximum of 25%. Oh, sorry, 20%. So if
20%.
you're buying a home of 500,000, make sure you have at least $25,000. but you need to qualify. If your income doesn't qualify you, you won't be able to put down only 25%. So this is great. This was the strategy most of my clients use. They were not making good income, but they were able to understand that if I put a minimum down payment, which is only 5%, they were able to buy homes. So think about it. You can go to buy a resale, that a property that is available now, already built up, which means you have to put a minimum of 5% of the value of that home, or look for pre-construction, which gives you an opportunity to pay down the down payment gradually.
Yeah, that was good. Next question. Someone wants you to speak more about making an offer. I think you just answered the question though. She said, isn't it meant to be 5% of the total cost of the home?
Okay. Okay. If you make an offer, some people will challenge you. In the last in December, I had a client. We had a client who was buying a land in Nisfield, and it was a hard sale. And the land was 2.1 million. Okay. Now we told this guy that you have to put 5%. 5% of 2 million was 5%. 100, what is 5%? Yeah, 100,000. So we were like, no, 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 can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. It's an offer. It's an offer. I don't want to put more than 10,000. See? So it's not cast in stone. We recommend. It's actually a sign of seriousness because you're not losing your money anyway. So if the sale doesn't go through, the money will be refunded. Your deposit will be refunded to you. But it just shows the seller that you're really interested. You don't want to mess yourself up. Oh, because the seller will say, okay, listen, what this guy's offering me only 10,000 for a property of 2 million when the 5% is 100,000. He's not serious. So these are the things you look at when you're making offer in a competitive environment. How? Because when you're competing with three other people or more, you should be able to demonstrate that you're really serious. If you're not, if you don't show that seriousness, then the seller will say, no, remove this guy. He's not serious. Let's consider two other people. So it
Okay.
must be 5%.
Yeah. Yeah, just the minimum. Next person, this is a two-part question. Is it possible to buy more than one property as a first-time home buyer? If yes, how does one go about it? And then would you recommend buying in that situation, would you recommend buying one pre-construction and one home or two pre-construction and two homes?
Okay, if you have the funds, why not? You can buy 10. But the problem with the second property is that when you already have a mortgage on one, the chances of you being qualified for the second will be remote.
Remote?
Remote means will be tough.
Okay.
Then so honest, you can if you're buying cash, fine. But again, to help you, because we've seen some people say, hey, we still have, yes, I can be able to take care of my first property, and I have extra funds. Fine. So you're right. You can put for the extra fund, you can put it in a pre-construction because when you close now, it's going to be difficult for you to close two mortgages, except you have two properties, except you have the mortgage or you're paying cash. So without a limitation of financing, you can buy as much as you can. But given the environment we are in, you need to qualify for the second home. I hope this is clear. You can buy we can buy two homes if you have the capacity to buy. But if you can't, close one and then start putting money in pre-construction for the next one. There's a client of ours that purchased 2 years ago. He is looking into buying a second property, but knowing that he might not be able to qualify immediately this year, we are working towards helping him buy a pre-construction that will close in next year. So by next year, he will qualify for the second property.
Okay, let us know, King Guys, that makes sense. And you have any additional question to that? The next one is, what is the ideal debt to income ratio to buy a home?
Debt to in, debt to income, I think it's 30% or 34%. We'll get we'll get the financial advisor or mortgage to agent to help you out. But for the purpose of others who understand what debt to income means, it means that your lender is looking at what is the percentage of your income that will go to owning a property. Okay, so this is important. Or even not owning a property, what is the level of your debt to your income when you're looking for any loan? So I think it should be about 30 or 34%. But I stand to be corrected by a mortgage agent or financial advisor.
Yeah, I can double check and get back to you, B, if you want after this webinar. I'll clarify that for you and then I'll message you. Next question is, can you explain how to use an RRSP loan to buy your first home?
No, the RRSP is not a loan.
RRSP, yeah,
Yeah, RSP is registered blah 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 something fund. Okay.
program, yeah.
What it does is this. When you are a first home buyer and you're working in a company, the government allows and the government allows you to save money through RSP that is not taxed. Okay. Now, if you're working, for the benefit of some of you, when I was working in a company, my company was matching every RSP contribution I made to the tune of multiple of five. And I was smart and I knew what I was doing. Now, I wouldn't take a lot of money home. Home means saving it for me, but I knew that if I can make a contribution of $100 per month, my company gives me $500. So I banked on it and I took advantage of it and I acquired a lot of, I think I acquired about, I don't know, 20,000 on my RSP before we bought a home or thereabout. So what that means is that when you are buying a home, you can take part of your RSP savings to buy as a down payment. So how do you use it? It's your money, but government is saying don't use it because the government will want you to use it maybe when you retire. It's a retirement savings fund, okay? Savings plan. So, but government allows you to use that portion. You can use the whole. Now you think it's I forgot how much. It's about you can use up to 40 to 60,000 of that RSP if you are a first-time home buyer. So what that means is that if you use that money, government will not tax you to be able to use it. Did I make myself clear? So RSP is your money which you've saved and which government is holding for you to retire with. But government is giving you an opportunity to use that money to put as a down payment. That's simple. I think this is what it is now. So you understand
Yeah,
it.
she said, yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, yes.
Last question that I've gotten. Does the FHSA really work towards home purchases?
Yes, yes. It's not. It's a non-tax fund, so the government also helps. Because it's not tax. There's a way your mortgage lender will work with that fund, which is still yours to help you buy a home. There are different savings options in the bankers and the lenders use. to pre-qualify you for your home purchase.
Okay. Okay, sorry, they said how, but you already answered that. But yeah, that was it. If that made sense, if you have any further questions, that was from Amanda. If that made sense, let us know. If not, we can clarify. But that was all the questions. Thank you guys for your questions and for coming
Okay.
out.
Okay, guys, thank you for being part of this. We want to do this for the next 4 months on a monthly basis. So if you're not going to log in next time, Glory will make available this is recorded, so you can have access to the resources. And then thank you, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We will see you next month, hopefully. Have a good day, everyone, and a good weekend. And bye for now. You can
Bye.
stop recording.